Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my end of ORAS OU report cards. Now the last Pokemon we started off with episode 2 was Keldeo, so we're going to start episode 3 with Klefki. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these in alphabetical orders. So, first we have Klefki. Now Klefki is a Steel and Fairy type, and it has 57 HP, 80 base attack, 91 defense, 80 special attack, 87 defense, and 75 speed. So right off the bat you see Klefki is not known for its stats. That is not what it's used for. Has decent typing. Steel Fairy is pretty cool, honestly, just because it walls a lot of things, and very good Dragon answer. So that's just the typing of it. Now Klefki is used for one thing, and that's Prankster. Prankster, if you guys didn't know, it means that every indirect attack, such as Toxic, Thunder Wave, Spikes, any kind of screens like Reflector, Light Screen, they all go before a normal move, except if it's something like Extreme Speed that has a +2 priority. But anyway, Prankster is a pretty much puts priority on any indirect move, which makes this thing very annoying to deal with, especially if you're playing something like Anything Goes when they just sub Swagger T-Wave you. So anyway, in OU this thing is used as mainly as T-Waver and get up some hazards through spikes. Sometimes you see some interesting sets like Magnet Rise and what's the other one? Heal Block. So you can come up with some interesting sets, but mainly it's just used for T-Wave and spikes. So like I said, it has those two moves and it has great utility because of that, and it's good typing as well. Klefki is easy to counter though. It's very predictable and it has poor stats like I mentioned before. You can really, like, if they want to bring in their Klefki on something, you can almost guarantee that you are either clicking T-Wave, Spikes, Play Rough, or Flash Cannon. That's pretty much the move set that most of them run. If not 2 attacks, they run 1 attack, and it's just easier to deal with. Sometimes they like dual status with Toxic and T-Wave, but yeah, this thing's very predictable, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. That's why I think its final grade is a B-, because it does well at what it's known for, just being a prankster, pretty much just being annoying. But yeah, so this thing is it's decent, like I said, but it's definitely not great. So that's why I think it deserved a B-. The next Pokemon is Kyurem-Black. Kyurem-Black. I honestly don't know how to pronounce this thing, but this thing is a threat nonetheless. This thing is packing the Dragon and Ice typing, so very good offensive typing. Now, if you guys look at this thing's stats compared to the Klefki stats, now this thing has amazing stats. 125 HP, 170 base attack, 100 defense, 120 special attack, 90 special defense, and 95 speed. So if you think about it, this thing is this thing hits like a truck. You could make it mixed and it still hits hard on both sides. There's really not much your opponent can do whenever you bring a Kyurem-Black to your team. You could run Scarf, Outrage to deal with things. I've seen all special sets before with Specs. I've seen mix with Fusion Bolt, Outrage, and Ice Beam, stuff like that, and Earth Power. And this thing gets access to Roost, and yeah, so this thing is just a threat. It could arguably be Ubers, honestly, just because of its base stats are ridiculously strong. And even if it is below 100 speed, it still is almost at 100 speed. So Pokemon at 100 speed will obviously be outspeeding if they are max investment, and then this thing is usually run max investment. But you could run Adamant, Choice Scarf, and this thing is ridiculously hard to counter against. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-hit KO on offensive Jirachi. So yeah, this thing is a threat, like I said. The pros of it, extremely powerful, like I mentioned, can be one of the best wall breakers in the game, and it can be mixed, so that thing is insanely hard to play against. The cons of it, though, it has very poor defensive typings, many weaknesses, such as Fairy, Fighting, Steel, Rock even, and Dragon, of course. So, and it is not the fastest, so like I said, it is being outsped by base 100s, especially without a Choice Scarf. So that's why I think it deserves a B+. Very, very powerful, but it has a very poor defensive typing. It is also, like I said, weak to Rock, but so whenever it switches on a Stealth Rock, it's taking 25% each time. So this thing, I think it actually belongs in OU in my opinion. I don't think it should be Ubers. I've come across a couple of people who said it's been Ubers, or should be in Ubers, but I don't think so. I think it deserves a B+ because it's very good, but it's not great. So that is Kyurem-Black, and the next Pokemon is Landris Thirion. Now, like I said, I think Kyurem-Black is not good, or it is good but not great. I think Landris Thirion is amazing. Now, this thing is packing the ground and flying type, one of the best typings in the game. I think it has pretty much everything it needs, honestly. This thing is base 89 HP, 145 attack, 90 defense, 105 special attack, 80 special defense, and 91 speed. Now, Landris Thirion, in my opinion, is the best Pokemon in OU. You can argue with me all you want, but I will not change my mind. Landris Thirion is just one of the best Pokemon, and that's why it's ran on almost every team. I can't remember if it was Garchomp or Landris, but one of those two are the most common Pokemon in OU. So, there's a good reason why. Landris Thirion is so good at what it does. Landris Thirion can be run defensively or offensively, and both sets are amazing in OU. Common defensive sets, they always pack Earthquake, so if you're using Landris Thirion without Earthquake, you don't know what you're doing. It needs Earthquake. It's a very powerful stab move with a base 145 attack, making this thing very powerful. Now, you could also run its coverage options with Knockoff, U-Turn, Stone Edge, Superpower, Hammer Arm if you don't even want to drop your attacks. I think it gets Hammer Arm, don't quote me on that. But yeah, this thing has great coverage. It can be used as a Scarf Sweeper, and it does very well because it has access to U-Turn and Knockoff, like I said before, and Stone Edge too. So this thing is just such a threat. If I had to say, my favorite set would probably be Dual Dance Lando, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Swords Dance, and Rock Polish. That thing sweeps so many times, and it's so powerful. But yeah, it gets access to Stealth Rock. It even gets things like Smackdown, or I think maybe Gravity if you want to negate those flying types. And this thing's it's just so hard to deal with. Like I said, the pros of it, it's great typing, it's versatile, it's great move pool, and it's very strong. Base 145 attack is still pretty strong even if you're running no investment. The cons of it though, it is 4 times weak to ice, and it's not the best special defense for a wall. So say you want to run a bulky set, it does not have the best special defense. I think if you even run max HP and no special defense investment, I think Latios has a chance to OHKO with Draco Meteor. So really don't want to take special hits with this thing if you don't have to. That's why a couple of people run Scarf, and they can U-turn out of those kind of situations. So, but its final grade is an A+, and you can't change me like that. I will not listen to any of your arguments. This thing is going to stay at an A+, because it is just so good. I think Landris Thirion is the best Pokemon in the game, or not in OU, like I said. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for Landris Thirion. Next Pokemon is Ladaas. Now, Ladaas is another good Pokemon. This thing is packing the Dragon and Psychic typing, so pretty good offensive typing. This thing has 80 base HP, 80 attack, 90 defense, 110 special attack, 130 special defense, 110 speed. Now, if you take a look at Ladaas, it can pretty much be used 2 ways. There's a bulky support set, and there's an offensive support set. So Ladaas is probably the best defogger in the game, in my opinion at least. This thing is very good for hazard removal, and it has access to Healing Wish. So both support sets usually run Healing Wish. If you guys did not know, Healing Wish pretty much means Ladaas faints, and then you're forced to switch into another Pokemon, and if that Pokemon, say it is burned and it's at 10%, you can heal it all the way back up and get rid of the burn. So it's pretty much just giving another Pokemon another life, and that's what makes this thing very good in competitive format. It's pretty much like using a max revive with full restore at the same time. So pretty cool, honestly. This thing it still hits hard too, as well as being very fast with 110 base speed. So this thing's hard to counter. My particularly favorite set is the offensive support set with Draco, Psyshock, Defog, and Healing Wish. And then I think this set is about 184 special attack, max speed obviously, and I think 72 defense, or not 72 defense, 72 HP. I think that's a set. That's my favorite at least. This thing is very good, guys. It can eat Scalds. It's a very good Psychic type switch in as well. So yeah, this thing's special defense is nothing to play around with. It even gets Roost or Recover if you want to get your HP back and say maybe not use Psyshock or something, or maybe not use Draco. I don't know. But this thing's very good. It does get good coverage options too, like Thunderbolt, and what else does it get? Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, so you could run Bolt Beam if you wanted to. The pros of this thing, like I said earlier, it's the best defog user in the game in my opinion. It's fast, it has access to Healing Wish, and it hits pretty hard. The cons are it is weak to knockoff, and you don't necessarily want to take knockoffs at all. The most typical sets are walled by steel types. You don't necessarily see HP Fire on Ladaas as you see it as on Latios. So it is usually walled by steel types, so that is a bit of a problem. But even so, this thing is still an A. It definitely deserves an A rating. So next Pokemon is Mega-Latias, and Mega-Latias is just obviously Ladaas on steroids. So this thing is obviously a Dragon Psychic type. It's packing 80 base HP, 100 attack, 120 defense, 140 special attack, 150 special defense, and 110 speed. So this thing's stats are very good. Pretty much Mega-Latias has two sets. There's a really defensive support defog set that I don't necessarily like, and there's a pretty offensive reflect type set with Bolt Beam, and that is my favorite set. If you guys look at my last OU live, it's not my very last one, but it's a couple OU lives ago with my Mega Evolution highlight series. I am using a Bolt Beam Mega-Latias with reflect type, and it actually puts in work. People don't necessarily expect Mega-Latias, so it can kind of catch people off guard, especially with the Bolt Beam typing or Bolt Beam offensive set. So like I said, it has very good stats, it has access to reflect type, it's pretty naturally bulky, and it's pretty strong naturally as well. So like I said, this thing catches people off guard, and the cons are it's hard to fit on a team, honestly. It's because I don't like running dual psychics, and I definitely never run 3 psychics on the same team just because I don't want to be weak to knockoff. So that's the main reason. And then it is difficult to use, guys. You have to have a little bit of experience to use Mega-Latias. That's why I think it packs the B+ rating, because it is good, but it's not great. There are better Mega Evolution options, so that's just my interpretation of it. So next Pokemon we have is Latios. Now Latios is the more offensive variant of Ladaas, so they pretty much do the same thing. Dragon and Psychic again. Base 80 HP, 90 attack, 80 defense, 130 special attack, 110 special defense, and 110 speed. Now this thing is very powerful, guys. It is also, I would say, the second best defogger right behind Ladaas, but it's very close to it. So yeah, this thing is a good defogger. It actually gets things like Earthquake to hit Heatran, so Heatrans are definitely not switch-ins if you're running Earthquake, as it can OHKO with the Life Orb. So yeah, Latios is pretty hard to deal with, honestly. It's a great Keldeo check, just like the Ladaas, and pretty much does well in OU. It's usually run as a Life Orb attacker, just like Ladaas, but no HP investment. It's max, special attack, and speed. So this thing is a threat and a half. Draco Meteors hit incredibly hard with a 130 base special attack, and you're usually outspeeding most things with a 110 base speed. So Latios, very good Pokemon. The pros are it's fast, it's powerful stab, and it's a great defog user. I'd say the cons are it's relatively frail because it will die by most knockoff users, especially if they are stabbed, and it is also very pursuit weak as well. You see a lot of pursuit trappers in the OU metagame, something like Weavile, even something like Tyranitar especially, and even if you get something weird like Assault Vest Metagross, that can still work on Latios. So really got to watch out for the pursuit trappers in OU, because they are mainly used just for this Pokemon, and I guess Ladaas as well. So yeah, this thing's pretty weak to any dark type move, especially on the physical side, so you kind of want to avoid that at all costs. So Latios is actually pretty cool because it does get good coverage options as well. Like I said, you can see HP Fire on Latios all the time. I know I run that set pretty often, and also things like Energy Ball. Energy Ball can catch things off guard, especially something like Azumarill. So I like this thing a lot. I think it deserves an A, just like the Ladaas. They're pretty much right next to each other. They do the same thing pretty much, and they do it very well. So I think it deserved an A. The next Pokemon is the Mega version of Latios. Now Mega-Latios is a Dragon Psychic typing yet again. It is base 80 HP, 130 attack, 100 defense, 160 special attack, 120 defense, and 110 speed. Now, I'm going to keep this one quick because we've already been through Latios and Ladaas 4 times now. This thing is pretty much just a worse variant of Mega-Latias, in my opinion. A more offensive variant, but it's a little bit worse because you're lacking the bulk that Mega-Latias provides. So, it is still very powerful. Base 160 special attack is nothing to play around with. Like I said with Ladaas, I did use in one of my Mega Evolution Highlight Series videos, I used this as well, and I used the Bolt Beam set again. But this time I think I ran Calm Mind over Reflect type just to be even more powerful. So it is very strong. It can be a mixed attacker with the base 130 attack as well, and it's very fast still. So that is the pros of it. The cons are it's very hard to use, it's tough to fit on a team, and it's decent bulk, but it's not great. It's like 80 base HP is okay, 100 defense is good, and 100 special defense is pretty good. But as a Mega Evolution Pokemon and something that has a lot of weaknesses, it's not great. So that's why I think it deserved a B-. It's pretty. You can still use it. It'll catch people off guard, and it'll do decently well. But definitely not your best Mega Evolution pick, I would say, for OU. There's much better options. So that is Mega-Latios. And now the next Pokemon is Mega-Lopunny. Now Mega-Lopunny is interesting because the normal and fighting typing it provides with the Scrappy ability, which means it can hit ghost types with normal and fighting type moves. This thing pretty much guarantees that the opponent has no switch-ins. I am yet to find a Pokemon that can hit with the Scrappy ability, obviously, that can resist both stabs from Mega-Lopunny. I haven't looked into it too much, but I don't think there's a single Pokemon that can switch in on this thing and resist both of these two stabs. So that is why Mega-Lopunny is so threatening. If you guys look at it, it has 65 HP, 136 attack, 94 defense, 54 special attack, 96 special defense, and 135 speed. So if you look at it real quick, it has very high attack and very high speed. That's what makes this thing so threatening. It also gets great priority with Fake Out and Quick Attack, and it gets elemental punches for coverage, such as Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Fire Punch. So this thing's pretty hard to deal with, honestly. Its two stab moves are incredibly strong. You see Return or Frustration, that's 102 base power, and then High Jump Kick is 130 base power. So on top of that, with stab, this thing is so hard to deal with its base speed. So this thing is so incredibly threatening. That's why the pros are, it's very fast, the powerful stab it provides, and the stab priority. So this thing is hard to deal with because say you could potentially live a return or a high jump kick, this thing can just use Fake Out and put you in range after that. So you really got to watch out for it. The cons are it does struggle versus bulky fairy and flying types. Fairy as in like Clefable, and flying types as in maybe like fully Fizz-Def Skarmory, because that thing is just so bulky. So it is also pretty predictable as well. You can kind of tell when this thing's going to click High Jump Kick or Return, and then Ice Punch is the usual third move on it, with Fake Out being the fourth move. So they are pretty predictable. They usually run that one set, and if they don't run something like Ice Punch, they usually run something weird like Power Up Punch or Quick Attack. Not weird, but just not usual. So I think it deserved an A-. This thing is very good, but it is predictable. So you really got to watch out for it, but if you plan ahead for it, you should be okay. So next Pokemon is the Magnezone. Now Magnezone is a very interesting Pokemon in OU. It is packing the Electric and Steel typing. It has base 70 HP, base 70 attack, 115 defense, 130 special attack, 90 special defense, and 60 speed. So Magnezone's pretty interesting, honestly. Electric and Steel typing actually I think has the most resistances in the game. I'm pretty sure, not positive though. But yeah, it resists so many things, and that's what makes it pretty good, honestly. It also is usually used as a Choice Scarfer or a Choice Specs user. And you can see some weird sets like Sub Charge Beam. So say you, okay, so it has Magnet Pull, guys. If you guys didn't know what that means, it pretty much traps every Steel type whenever upon switching. Or if they want to switch into you, they're trapped if they're a Steel type, and then they can't switch out. So this thing can come in on things like Ferrothorn, Scizor, and Skarmory, and pretty much blow them back with either Thunderbolt or HP Fire. You always run HP Fire on Magnezone, in my opinion. But say you are running some weird Sub Charge Beam set, you could come in on something like Magnezone, I mean not Magnezone, Ferrothorn or Skarmory, hit them up with a substitute, and then proceed to click Charge Beam and get up to probably like +3 or 4 at least, and be very threatening because they'll have to break your substitute and then try to kill you from there. So Magnezone, pretty strong, honestly. 130 special attack is nothing to mess around with. And yeah, the thing what makes this thing good, or at least very good, is Magnet Pull. So I I would say that's the pros of it, and then its cons. It is 4 times weak to ground. Also has a couple other weaknesses that are pretty common, like fire and fighting. It's pretty slow. Base 60 HP. I mean, base 60 speed is very slow. Honestly, if you run a Choice Scarf, it kind of helps it out a little bit, but it still gets outsped by fast megas like Mega-Lopunny and I guess like Mega-Aerodactyl and all those fast mons. So it is setup fodder as well, because they usually are choiced. So say you want to trap the Ferrothorn with an HP Fire, and you kill with an HP Fire, they can just bring in, I don't know, say, let's see, like the Rock Polish Landris set I said, Dual Dance Lando, they could bring that in if they wanted to, and they know HP Fire isn't going to do that much, so they can just set up a Swords Dance or Rock Polish. So it is setup fodder in that sense, because they get a free switch in after you trap something, but that's okay. This thing is still pretty good, and that's why I think it deserved a B. Now, that is pretty much Magnezone. There's not really much else to say about it. So the last Pokemon in the video is Manaphy. Now, Manaphy is a mono water type, and it is packing base 100 stats all across the board. And this thing's very good, honestly. It has one move that makes it very good for at least breaking through stall and pretty much causing a problem for teams. The most common set is Scald, I think, Ice Beam, and Energy Ball with Tail Glow. So that gives it very good coverage, and it pretty much just hits everything very hard after a Tail Glow. If you guys don't know what Tail Glow is, it's pretty much using a Nasty Plot but getting up another one. So it's raising your special attack by 3 instead of 2 like a Nasty Plot, or 1 like a Calm Mind. So this thing is, it pretty much gets out to +3 with the Tail Glow and becomes a huge threat because its stats are increased so high. And its base 100 speed makes it still pretty fast, so most things will not outspeed it, but a couple things will. It has very good stats, like I said, 100 all across the board is nothing to mess around with. It's still pretty bulky even if you are running Uninvestment, and it has great coverage options. It even gets things like Signal Beam, Shadow Ball, Psychic, I already said Energy Ball and Ice Beam. I think it gets U-Turn even, if you wanted to run a U-Turn set for some reason. Knockoff, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else. It gets Scald and Surf, obviously, but yeah, so it's pretty cool Pokemon, honestly. I would say the cons are, it's not that great without a Tail Glow up, pretty much meaning that it isn't very strong without one. It's still decent mon without one, so you have Scald capabilities and Ice Beam to hit things like Garchomp or Landris, something like that. But it usually runs one set as well, and that is the Tail Glow set. You could see some bulky Rain Dance sets with Rest it has the Hydration ability, and Hydration means that if there is rain up and you are status, then at the end of the turn you will be healed of that status due to the Hydration ability. So that's pretty cool, but it usually runs that one set, like I said, with Tail Glow. So that'll be the end of episode 3. Now, we just did Manaphy, so the next Pokemon on the list is, in fact, Mega-Manectric. So we'll go to episode 4, and pretty much we are finishing up the series very nicely. So, like I said, that will be the end of the episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you stay tuned for episode 4. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.